Welcome to the BlueCollarBaddies podcast. This is episode number 20. This episode is sponsored by CNR Services, a woman-owned, veteran-owned, family-operated paint company out of Nashville. And today we're here with Tiffany.
Hi.
Tell me what you do.
I am the owner of CNR Services. We're a commercial painting contractor.
Nice. And how'd you get started?
That's a long story. So how much time have we got?
Let's roll.
Okay. Basically, I graduated high school in 1991.
Okay.
Went into the Marine Corps.
Nice.
After the Marine Corps, was with my husband at that time, and we got stationed here in Nashville.
Okay.
I got out of the Corps, and he stayed in. We did not work out.
Yeah.
We were together for almost 10 years, but he's got some alcohol issues and stuff like that, so we divorced. Been there.
Yep.
And I had a career in real estate. I'd gotten into property management, and so I was managing 2 million square feet of office buildings.
Dang.
And I loved that world. I really did enjoy the different aspects of taking care of my clients, my tenants, meeting with vendors, from landscaping to making the toilets flush.
Yeah.
But my passion and what I loved the most was construction.
Nice.
And so even I think back, my parents were serial entrepreneurs. They had a landscaping company, they had a cleaning company, they had, my dad was kind of a jack of all trades.
Yeah.
And so I've always been around entrepreneurs, I've always been around construction.
Okay.
But what I loved the most was whenever I would see these, blank, empty, big spaces become a tenant, beautiful space.
Yeah.
But I didn't equate back then that was what I loved the most. It was always something new, always challenges, always dealing with men and how to bridge that gap. And going from the Marine Corps, I dealt with a lot of men, right? And then whenever I went to real estate, it was a lot more women.
Right.
And then construction, back with a lot of men. So I've always worked with men and women very well. But I just kept noticing that, like in real estate, there wasn't a glass ceiling. Like if you worked hard and you were a woman, you just kept kind of moving up the ladder.
Right.
But I kept running into women out in kind of my construction jobs that was being run. I was like, man, there's a painting contractor and there's one woman. There's an HVAC and there's one woman. There's a plumber and there's one woman. And I just kept seeing this over and over, this trend. But I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to change it.
Right.
And so was doing that for a while, and my new husband's kind of had an opportunity that fell into our lap. He was a maintenance guy for a different property management company, and the guys that were running some apartment complexes were converting them to condos.
Okay.
So my husband's there working on these apartments all day, making the clients happy. And the property manager came to him and said, I hate my paint crew. Do you know a painter? And my husband, his pickup line was he was a graduate of the CIA, which I thought that was pretty badass.
Yeah.
And then I found out it was the Culinary Institute of America.
Oh, that's funny.
So I was like, okay, I can kill him with my hands, and you can kill him with cholesterol.
Yeah. So
we're a badass team, right?
Nice.
And so he said, yeah, I do some painting on the side. And next thing I know, we were just dating, but he had a son. And so here we are. I've worked all day. I'm going to college all night. I'm raising his son.
Yeah.
And now we're painting a condo.
Nice.
And my parents came in from New Orleans to help. My uncle came in from Alabama. We had a couple of friends. So next thing I know, we went from, hey, here's one condo to paint to here's 70.
Golly.
And so it was like a company was handed to us, but we had no idea what to do, how to do it. So my husband and literally 2 Mexicans, because they're from Mexico.
Yeah.
Primo and Tino, they were brothers.
Nice.
My husband had met them at another job, and it was my husband and 2 guys painting. I kept doing my career because that's what I wanted. I was like, I was the breadwinner. I had the consistency. And I was like, if you need me to paint, I'll help you paint. And so raising a baby, raising a family, raising myself still. I had my sister. I had custody of her at 24 years old. I'm raising my 15-year-old sister.
Golly.
And now trying to figure out how to do this business thing.
Yeah.
And so at night I was preparing estimates, doing invoicing, helping him get new clients.
Right.
While I still had this whole other career going.
Golly.
And I'm like, what am I going to do? And so he kept saying, as we would lay in bed at night, holding each other, talking about our day, he'd be like, quit working for the man and come work for me.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, well, I don't want to work for anyone. I want to work with you.
Yeah.
And of course, like a good husband, he's like, tell me what to say. I'm like, say, come work with me.
Aww.
And so in 2008, we figured it out, and we decided to let me quit my job so I could do this full time, which I don't know if you remember, but that was the first great recession that we dealt with, and depression is what they called it, our generation's Great Depression.
Yeah.
So I leave my great, well-paying job of $80,000 a year, bonuses, insurance, take the leap of faith, and the economy tanks. So we're working out of our house. I'm calling friends that I've been working with for years, like, hey, you got a door I can paint? You got a fence I can paint? What can I do? And the work was consistent enough. But at one point we had our painters at our house painting because it was so slow, but we didn't want to lose them.
Right.
And I'll tell you, even then, we've always chosen people over profit.
That's
we
awesome.
just feel like it will work out.
Yeah.
Because you can always get money somewhere, but you can't get great people.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so this little side hustle business became something that became bigger. And my first real opportunity, I had a friend by the name of Joe Craig that I had worked with at a property management company. She sent an email out to her people she was working with that said, hey, woman-owned, veteran-owned painting company.
Nice.
Will y'all meet with her? And I got a call from a guy by the name of Bob Wolfords with Charles Hawkins. And he was a retired lieutenant colonel from the Marine Corps, who he was now working at this property management company for the guy, his captain, that used to work for him in the Marine Corps.
Dang.
And his name is Rob. There was Bob and Rob. And so he's running this, property management company. And I go meet with Bob, and he's like, can you paint this whole building? And I'm like, hold on. Call my husband, call a friend back from the contest. Call my friend, my husband, he comes over, rolls it out, and we sold that job. And that job right there, that first job I sold, was my whole year's salary.
Wow.
Yep. So I was like, okay, God, I'm picking up what you're throwing down.
Yeah, that's awesome.
The affirmation, right,
sure.
of what I needed to do. And then that's when I truly leaned into a lot of the women that I worked with. And I'm like, I'm doing this thing with Jason. I need help. And the calls just kept coming. The emails kept coming. And we started this painting thing seriously, and it became 25 years later.
That's
this
awesome.
year's 25 years.
Golly.
Working out the back of a truck to a multi-million-dollar second-generation business now.
Wow.
So it was one of those leap of faiths.
Yeah.
But it's been amazing. We were working out of our home for a while. Then we moved to from Antioch to Coopertown. We had a barn that had a full working office because it was a custom home builder's house.
Yeah.
So he built himself a whole working office with a drafting board and everything.
Dang.
And so we worked there for several years before we picked up the smallest office on the end of this strip, and we've taken this whole row now.
Wow. That's awesome.
3 guys to now we have 60.
Wow.
Yeah. Men, women, second generation.
And you work all over Nashville? Or probably bigger than Nashville, of course, but...
Yeah, I mean, we say Nashville's our hub.
Yeah.
We do a lot of work in Davidson County. That's where we're at right now. And, but I tell everyone, for the right job and the right client, we'll go anywhere.
For sure.
So we do a lot right now, and I'm not sure if you know, Huntsville and Birmingham and Chattanooga and Knoxville, those cities are booming.
Yeah.
And so, a lot of people are coming to Nashville, but a lot of Nashville people are going to other places to work. And so we're going there a lot. And we also go to there's 7 states that surround Tennessee.
Yeah.
And so we'll go to all of those depending on the the right client. We did a bunch of Regions banks a while back.
Okay.
Financial institutions are kind of like, once you know how to do one, the teams, they keep you going with them.
Makes sense.
So that's kind of how we got started, and what I do on a daily basis is running this great company with amazing people.
Nice. That's awesome.
That's what puts the bread on the table.
Yeah.
Yeah. But my passion, is growing women in construction like
Hell
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome too, because we need it.
Yes, we do. And I mean, I've been so, a part of getting all of this going with you, but I haven't even got to know you much, Annie.
Yeah.
And what you do. So I'm stalking you now on all your socials and trying to get to know you more.
Yeah. I mean, I post probably more than I or not as much as I used to, but I don't know, just get kind of busy with other things.
That's right. Well, I mean, life happens.
Yeah.
You know, we keep doing what we got to do, but I'm just so excited to get to know you more and get to know women in other cities and states that are trying to help do the same thing and grow women in construction.
For sure. Well, I mean, Rebecca, who I guess connected us in South Dakota,
yes,
I met her because of these, like, she reached out for their fashion show, and she was like, for NAWIC, she was like, would you want to maybe sponsor a few t-shirts? This was 2 or 3 years ago. So got in good with her, and then, like, she's the one who kind of pushed me to go ahead and do the podcast.
Yes.
So I did my first episode with her, and she's got connections and all that stuff everywhere.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
That is what this is about. I mean, I really feel like I've been a connector for 20, 25, 30 years now here in Nashville.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people that, you know, we do repeat business with. Like, you may think you're going to work with this person this only this one time. And then it's like 10 years later, it comes back around again.
Yeah.
You know, or that person then recommended you to all these people.
Right.
So relationships really matter.
For sure.
And especially in our world, I feel like we're in a big universe, but we're in, you know, small world. So people jokingly say Nashville's the biggest little town that you'll be a part of. And you're from Oklahoma, where? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you can say that about every town. You know, I say that about New Orleans still.
Yeah.
You know, I go home and my uncle actually owns a construction company there.
Oh, cool.
And so I'll go home and I'll see my maiden name, my mother's maiden name is Trahan. And so I go places and I see our name on things.
Yeah.
And I'm like, golly, it's such a small town still.
That's cool, though.
It's a small universe.
Yeah, for sure. Well, speaking of your hometown, what did you originally think you were going to do, like, growing up?
Well, the funny thing was, I've always been a huge animal person. I've rescued so many animals, it's crazy, from obviously dogs, cats, woodpeckers, to turtles. And the best rescue I ever had was, I was in North Carolina, and part of my job in the Marine Corps was disaster preparedness. And this is before, like, the computers we know of and cell phones and even, like, walkie-talkie coverage. So we had a hurricane come into North Carolina, and I had just worked 36 hours because I was in charge of tracking the hurricanes, reporting it to the entire base. And we had a thing called, we called it the bat phone. So it was like this red phone. You'd pick it up and you'd let all of the different battalions and platoons and divisions know what's going on.
Yeah.
So when that phone rang, it literally rang red. Everyone knew to pick it up.
Yeah.
I'd tell them what was going on, and then I'd have to get all their initials.
Wow.
Right? So that was like over and over and over for 36 hours doing a lot of updates. And so, like, my gunny sends me home to go change, shower up, refresh for a couple hours before I had to come right back. And I mean, this is Jacksonville, North Carolina.
Yeah.
Camp Lejeune. And I'm on the 3rd floor of an apartment complex. I walk up to the 3rd floor of my apartment, and there's a brown pelican sitting in front of my door.
What?
A brown pelican.
Dang.
Yep, and being from New Orleans, like, pelicans are our thing, right? And like, what is this all about? Of all the places, of all the things that could happen. And so he was really sick, I could tell. I basically scooted him out the way and brought him inside, put him in the bathtub. My husband at the time, he's out in the field, so there's no way for me to communicate to him what's going on, but I knew he was coming home.
Right.
And I left a note on the door that said, "Don't freak out, there's a brown pelican in the bathtub."
Yeah.
And so I go back to my station, you know, I work with them for a while. They send me back to go take care of this brown pelican. And I find a sanctuary that would take it and deliver him there. And he was sick, and they got him better, and they wound up, you know, he couldn't go back into wild, but he's at this perfect bird sanctuary now.
Nice.
And so my whole life, I thought I'd be a veteran.
Yeah.
Veterinarian.
Right.
Right, veterinarian.
Yeah.
A vet. Didn't know I'd go into the Marine Corps and become that kind of vet.
That's funny.
Right? So irony is funny, but I still, you know, it's weird the paths that we take. I talk to women every day. Like, even one of the ladies earlier was like, I had no idea I'd fall into construction.
Yeah.
And that's the path of so many of the women I talked to.
For sure.
Had no idea they were going to go into construction, didn't think about construction. And those are the stories I love. I love talking to women. They're like, yeah, I was going to go be a whatever, and now I'm, a project manager in construction. So I didn't know what I was going to do. The Marine Corps was one thing. Got in the Marine Corps, loved it, but didn't want to, stay in.
Yeah.
Served my time, got my GI Bill so I could get my college degree, and
right.
And then, kind of got to Nashville, and I'm like, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
Been in the Marine Corps. I know how to work with people. What can I do? So back then, Haley, we pulled out a thing called a newspaper.
Yeah.
And we'd find jobs that way.
Right.
And there was a staffing agent, and her name was Mary Ann Shanks. And, I'm old, Gilligan's Island girl, and I thought of Mary Ann from Gilligan's Island.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'm going to call this person. I called her, I went over, and she put me at a company, so I was like through a staffing agency. And it was this big building in the airport area. And I remember just thinking, it's beautiful, I love being in this building. And I met the woman that ran the building, and I quit that day and went and started working at another company for a property management company. So there's a building on Bradley Parkway, and it's gold. Yeah. And everyone calls it the gold building on Bradley Parkway. So that was one of the first buildings I started managing and working in. And then I got to meet vendors and tenants and contractors. And so this crazy world of Marine Corps, then to admin assistant, and to property management, and to construction.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Thank you. It's been such an amazing road. It really has been.
That's good. I mean, and you seem really passionate about what you do.
I do. I love, one of our mottos at CNR is you pick it, we stick it, right? Because we've picked colors for people before, and they were like, that wasn't what I thought it was. And so we have learned a lot of hard lessons, but we've learned a lot of great lessons. That's good. At the end of the day, we love working with people. We love relationships. We love painting Nashville. Right. A building is just a building. It can be concrete and nothing else, but you put color on the walls, you add some wall covering, you add some murals. It comes to life. That's awesome. Thank you. I love it. I do too. I love what I do. Yeah. And this job is actually what affords me the opportunity to be so involved in NAWIC. Right. I can't imagine working for anyone else, going to a job and sitting 8 to 5 behind a desk and but that's what I used to do so much of. And to think about doing that now, I can't even imagine it, because this allows me to be very flexible. Yeah. It's a Saturday, I'm in here with you, and we're recording a podcast, but I'm also in my office going through the 60 emails. Right. And so they talk about balance. I'm one of those that does not believe in balance. I believe it's a sway. We're like a pendulum, Yeah. Like right now, we're in work. Right. Then we're going to sway out of work and be in our personal life tonight and chilling and go see Nashville. Yeah. My future daughter-in-law is having her lingerie party tonight. Oh, yeah. So we're here doing this, but then it's like I sway out of that. I love what I do, but this is what puts bread on the table. You know what I mean? But to me, there's no better fulfillment than walking into a room full of women in construction. Had one Thursday. We had, almost 80 women there from all gamuts, from accounting to project managers, trade partners, general contractors. Yeah. Social media gurus. People that help the trades. The trades help the GCs. But to see us all together was amazing. And we had this one lady that was speaking to us, Deb Ferrallo. She's like my hero, my networking queen that I look up to. And I've seen her speak so many times. But she did this really good thing and she was there to talk about effective networking, how to follow up after networking, because we do have a lot of new young women in our chapter. And so it's everything from where do you wear your name tag, how do you give a proper handshake, what do you follow up, how do you do that? And I've seen this probably 10 or 12 times from her. I still learn something new every time. Yeah. But this time she said, have I ever done this spider web thing with you? I'm like, no. So she's like, I'll be back. Goes to her car and comes back out. And she said, I'm going to do this at the end of the meeting. I'm like, all right. So there's almost 80 of us in this room at Maggiano's. And it was already kind of tight quarters, which I thought was cool because it was a little bit more intimate, because we were really close. And this is about effective, networking.
Right.
So why not shove everybody in a smaller room?
Makes sense.
Right? Well, she comes out with this spider web, and she hands it to a couple of the ladies, and she's like, I want everyone in this room to touch this spider web. And like we all stood up, like we knew the assignment, right? We all stood up. Everyone started sharing the web with everyone else. They started pulling at some women only had like this little bitty piece of it.
Yeah.
But everyone was touching that web. And I stood back and I got kind of emotional for a minute as I was recording this.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, as a spiritual person, I'm like, thank you for letting me be in this room to see this. Almost died 2 years ago. I had a stroke and heart attack. So I'm thankful to be alive.
Yeah.
But to witness this room full of women that some of us are competitors. I have other paint companies that I compete with every day in that room.
Right.
But we're in that room. We're not CNR. We're not whoever else all these people are. It's me. It's this lady. It's this lady. Because we're there to grow ourselves, to grow each other. And so it was really cool watching that web be shared by every single woman in that room. Some are who competitors.
Right.
But just to be there to know that we're lifting each other up and connecting is cool.
Badass.
That was badass. I'm watching the video earlier. I'm showing it to some of the other ladies that were here for your podcast. And they're like, I'm going to start doing that for team networking events. And I'm doing that because it really was. And to hear all the chatter and the laughing and, it was so cool. And that is what, to me, I'm here to run this company. I'm here to give my boys a second generation company. Like, that first year we did 25,000. Ooh, I was like, okay. And this year we're projected to do 9 million.
Golly.
Yeah, thank you. That's a lot of paint, right?
Yeah.
That's a lot of paint.
For sure.
But I truly believe that I'm doing this, which is great. And we have this company, and I come from nothing. I'm like trailer park, New Orleans. Like I come from nothing. We literally would have to put blankets up in the trailer in the hallways to block because in New Orleans it gets cold. Yeah. Not like this kind of cold, but we get cold. And it was feast or famine for my parents a lot of times. The struggle was real when you're an entrepreneur, right?
For
feast
sure.
or famine.
Yeah.
And I can remember having blankets up in our hallways, and me and my mom, my dad, my brother, and my sister, they'd have the oven door open, and that's how we would heat that space. Yeah. Right? So I saw the struggle then as an entrepreneur, and I was like, I'm never doing that. Right. This is why I wanted to have a real job. Yeah. Right? But then as this happened, and I started transitioning over into this entrepreneur world, and that's probably why I didn't walk away from so long to come help Jason, because I'm like, I know every 2 weeks I'm getting a paycheck. Right. I know our insurance is covered. Yeah. I may not be getting fulfillment as much, even though I loved what I did, and I was enjoying this side of it. I didn't have the vision at that time that this is what it was going to turn into. Yeah. And then once I did come over full time with him, I'm like, we're going to do something with this. Yeah. And I feel we have. I feel that we affect people's lives every day. I have painters that have been with us now 9 and 10 years. Yeah. We have whole families. We have brothers and sisters. We have cousins. We have brothers. We have husband and wives. Dang. Yeah. That's awesome. We have real, and so when we talk about how we're family owned, we're not a franchise. No one just handed this to us. Right. We built this shit. That's badass. Thank you. That's cool. Thank you. I like our story. Yeah, it's a good story. Well, so do you run into any, pushback from women on job sites, or have you encountered any that are just, hard to work with, I guess? Well, coming from the real estate world. Oh, yeah. It's a lot more cutthroat. Mm-hmm. There was more, who are you stepping on as you're trying to step up? Yeah. And I would say that I don't get that in the construction world. It's good. I know that there's competition amongst certain, companies and stuff, but I feel there's enough for all of us, especially in Nashville. We got $4 billion worth of permits that's going to be pulled in the next year, right? There's a lot of work for everybody. I would say, if anything, I go to the job sites now to more just see my people, shake hands, that kind of fun stuff, hand out goodie bags, right? Back in the day when I was physically painting, when we were in these apartments, the condos, and then when we got into more commercial, it was more like the unconscious bias. You know, like
Yeah.
they'd look at me and not really go, oh, wow, she looks like a strong woman painter out here. It was like, oh, here's another woman on the job site.
Oh.
But I feel now we have had a shift, and we have a lot of our older supers that used to have that bias. They're either coming around or they're retiring. Right. But yesterday you interviewed one of my team members, Nancy, and I get emails from clients requesting her on job sites because it's known, and I mean, there's some science behind it. I don't have all the numbers and quotes, but it's been a proven track record that with women on your job sites, safety, cleanliness, on time, under budget, right?
Nice.
There's something about it, I think that's a lot because we're nurturers.
Right.
We want everything to go right. We want everybody to feel good about things. Right now we have 8 women painters, which is awesome to be able to
cool.
talk about.
Yeah.
Nancy's a crew leader. And so I have faced that bias. I've had inappropriate things said to me like, dang girl, that safety vest looks good on you.
Gosh.
Right?
What the hell?
I would never say to a guy,
Yeah.
right? I mean, like, it's just crazy how even now the inappropriate things that are said, I think we have a long way to go.
For sure.
You know, like the other day I walked to a job site and one of my team that was a brother and sister, he was really, really pissed off because she needed to go change her period product. Couldn't find the porta-john key, right? Because the supervisor gave the key to the female electrician that gave it to the female plumber that gave it to the female whatever, right?
Gosh.
So there's some female walking on this huge project with a key for the only female porta-john.
Wow.
So my girl, who's about to bleed out, goes inside to use the bathroom. So even though we're inside, right, we're not allowed to use that bathroom.
Right, yeah.
So she goes and uses the bathroom, does what she's got to do. Her brother's standing there waiting for her. The super, she walks out that bathroom. He jumps her. Why are you using that bathroom? You know you're not supposed to use that bathroom. What's going on?
Dang.
And literally, the brother had to go, hold up.
Yeah.
She like the brother had to stand up for her being able to menstruate on the job site properly. And so there was a reason I was there that day. I saw that, I witnessed that. And guess what one of my presentations for NAWIC was about? Menstruation frustration on the job site.
Dang.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think a lot of dudes think about that. And so now, like, we're talking about it, and I have a lot of these girl dads that are like, how can I tell my daughter that she can go be in construction when she can't even use a bathroom properly? Like, they're locking porta potties.
Yeah.
And then I find out that my women are having to leave the job sites to go to the gas stations, which is a safety concern to me. I'm like, we're making this a safe place for you to work at, but you're leaving. So that then you worry about increased accidents. You know, like they're getting in their car, having to travel, all of these things. So
more wasted time.
Half
of our job sites were very beginning of the trade, or beginning of construction, so we sometimes don't have a porta potty at all.
So, sometimes there's nothing.
Yeah.
Like you're there in the beginning and that's what you're having to do. I had one of my ladies that was breastfeeding and she's having to go to her car at lunchtime.
Yeah.
So she can pump, having to keep a cooler there that she has to have a battery with so her milk stays fresh.
Yeah. Wow.
Like, when did we start thinking about that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Well, if we want to encourage women to be on more job sites, we got to be able to make it accessible.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. The bathroom deal is just a big issue, and I feel like there's no real good fix for it because, I mean, we at least have a rig, like a trailer I can go hide in, use a coffee can if I have to, do what you gotta do. But
hey, I've used a 5-gallon bucket before. I really have, like in the back of our van.
Yeah.
Because I felt that was cleaner and safer for me than trying to use this disgusting porta potty.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know how I really don't understand it.
Yeah.
But I get the idea that they're trying to provide a safe place and a clean place for us. But you're also still limiting us to be able to do what we need to do.
Right.
Because who's got the key?
Yeah.
Right? So then it's like, and I did recently meet with this great company called Unicorn, and it's biodegradable period products created by these amazing women, and I met them at a trade show for property management,
Nice.
right? And through that conversation of meeting them and talking to them, I said, you're missing a whole market. Like, you're wanting to put your products in these office buildings, you're missing a whole market of construction. And they're like, wait, what? And so they're called Unicorn. Shout out to them. But they've got these great plastic bins that literally just strap right to the porta potty.
Oh.
And then their products, you can just, it's in a box. You put the box in. When it's done, you take it out, put it in. So their products are safe to put in the porta potties.
Right.
Like, you don't feel you have to walk out with it in your pocket.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so not only now are they looking at getting these porta potty companies to start supplying this for us, right? New York just passed a law where it's required that they provide period products on job sites.
Wow.
They're required to provide a lactation room so you can go pump in privacy and have a place. And so women like this running this Unicorn, they're getting in front of so many men and other people.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, not to mention, do I need it in the construction site? But now they're going to put it in their offices. So it's like twofold.
Nice.
But that's another change. Like, who would have thought that we would be fighting for period products on job sites?
Yeah, for sure.
Here's the craziest thing. I had an older female email me, and she was pissed off. She's like, is this subject a joke? I'm like, no, it's not a joke. Like, this is a real issue on job sites. Why would you think this is a joke?
Yeah.
And she goes, I think you're setting us back 100 years because menstruation is a private situation.
Oh gosh.
Yes. and she was a excavating. She owns her own company. Mm-hmm. She's a little bit older than I am. I'm 52 this year. Actually, she's quite older. She's probably in her 70s. And I was so taken aback by her comments that it almost like ruined me. Yeah. I was like, here we are trying to make progress, and here's a woman saying we're setting us back. And so, but what I had to do, I had to try to think about things like her point of view, right? Yeah. It's just like the thing right now, like those of us that love pink hard hats, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's the thing. Like, there's those of us that still want to be feminine, and we can still go kick ass, right?
Yeah, for sure.
That's my thing. I like pink hard hats.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you have to.
Right.
You can have your white one with all your stickers on it, or your high vis, or whatever hard hat you want. That's why we're so great.
Yeah.
We can have multiple options.
For sure.
I had to go, you know what? She's a different time. Mm-hmm. They were of the generation you suck up and deal with whatever you're dealing with.
Yeah.
I'm Gen X. No, I'm putting it out there. We're going to make change. We're not dealing with this. Your generation is this next best generation. Like, the things you're doing now is to try to keep having these conversations.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way it's going to change.
For sure. Yeah. True. What would you say is your favorite or your most used tool?
Oh my gosh. I'm going to probably say for what I do now, social media.
Yeah.
Social media is a great tool.
For sure.
I mean, I do love AI.
Yeah.
I use AI. I use AI a lot. I'm definitely embracing that, from helping me come up with recipes for the week, you know, on a personal level.
Yeah.
Helping me with my emails and stuff like that. But I would say I use social media as a tool for what I do now. I mean, I'm mainly business development, but I do everything from HR to IT to, you know, whatever else, you know, changing decorations in the office, whatever it takes. But, you know, back in the day, one of my favorite tools was obviously the rolling measuring.
Oh,
you know, the bigger the wheel, the better.
Yeah.
I like the bigger wheels better. So my rolling tool, my rolling measuring tape basically was a great tool that I used when I was out estimating.
Right.
Because that's really, I mean, from where Jason and I began, like, we were the ones doing it all, you know, and I think a lot of the crew respect my husband so much, and Hayden. Hayden was 13 coming in here painting.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, like, there's Hector that came in earlier to pick up a vacuum. He was on his crew. So he's watched this kid become a man, you know. And so I think our tools changed through the years.
For sure.
Right? So what started out as me out in the field rolling and measuring and painting to now where I'm at sitting in the office, networking, doing this kind of fun stuff.
Right.
So,
nice.
Yes. I'm a little bit different because I'm not in the blue collar field anymore, physically doing the work.
Well, I mean, you've done the work.
I've done the work. I hope when y'all are in your 50s, you've done the work. Right?
Well, so are there any like big upcoming, I don't know, events or goals, plans in the business?
Yep, this year's going to be huge. The joke around here used to be I was quick to hire and slow to fire. So last year we had some real challenges. I had hired some people that, I mean, we're a family-owned business.
Yeah.
So literally, my CFO is the guy that worked with my son Hayden at Sonic and was running the Sonic and was finishing up his college degree in finance. So I met him, loved this kid, hired him. He's been with us for 5 years, right? Yeah. Hired Zach, who was his roommate, that did project management on stormwater treatment issues. He's one of my better and highest, estimators and project managers.
Yeah.
So my operations team, they were my client at a company we do a lot of work for. Got to know them on a personal level, went to concerts and things like that, bowling league. I'm like, we got to hire these guys. Because I believe people want to work with people they know and trust and love.
For sure.
And so we surround ourselves with people we know and trust and love. And you think you know people until you start working with them. And so even though I may know you and trust you and love you when we're at concerts, partying, or bowling, you get in the office environment, things change.
Yeah.
So that was kind of how I hired for a while because people lifted me up. I want to lift other people up. But unfortunately, there's the people you know in your personal life, then there's how they work.
Right.
And you're sitting here going, no wonder why they've had 5 jobs in 6 years, right?
Yikes.
But you think, like, well, I'm going to give them this great environment. They're going to love working here. You know, freedom to do things the way we do things and how we have fun doing it. But it still didn't work out. So I had some bad hires last year, which then affects sales. Right? If you're estimating, but you can't close the deal, you might as well just be throwing darts at a dartboard all day. Yeah. And wasting your time estimating. So I wound up having to let some people go. And then I hired another person through a headhunter. That didn't work. Had to let him go.
Dang.
Then I was at lunch with a future client. We were sitting there talking, and I'm all about connections. I'm all about relationships. I'm all about who's my next client from this client, And so I've been working with a company for a while. Finally got him to go to lunch with me. We had a great time. And I found out through there that he was working at one of my competitive painting companies. And I'm like, you're a general contractor. What were you doing at a painting company? He's like, well, they hired me. I thought it was me a good fit. It wasn't. He goes, but while I was there, I met this really great guy. His name's Anthony, but we call him Tony. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah. He's like, I really think you should talk to him. I'm like, I hired him 3 weeks ago.
Oh, dang.
So, you talk about relationships, right?
That's funny.
That is funny. So, now, they were close at this painting company, and we just closed a 6-figure job with him because he's now at a very large general contractor. Nice. And I've hired this guy, and that's relationships.
That's awesome.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, what comes around goes around. People you used to work for, I say don't burn bridges.
Absolutely.
Unless you're ready to burn it. If you're going to burn it, you better burn it
good.
down.
Yeah.
Burn it down, right? But I definitely believe that relationships is a big key to our success. And so I've hired the right people. There's get the right people on the bus. There's a Monkeys on the Bus book is what it's called. And it talks about having the right people on the bus. And so we talk about staying in your lanes. But you also have to be aware of what other people are doing. So we're having a very strategic plan this year with growing to 9 million.
Nice.
And that's I mean, I know we're going to do it. I mean, we got some amazing clients we're working with this year. We've let go of some clients. Like that's when you know you're in a great place, when you can fire your own clients. Not because, some of them were assholes and just couldn't pay us, and we didn't want to work with them anymore anyway. Right. But for the most part, it's like, who you work for is also a reflection of who you are as a company, right? And to me, it's not always about money. It is about relationships. It's about how they treat you. It's about how they treat my people. Right. If I hear out in the field that you're cussing at my people, like construction has changed a lot.
Yeah.
You know, we don't talk to people the way we used to. It's like back in the Marine Corps, back in the day, in the 70s, they beat the crap out of you to prove if you were strong or not, right?
Yeah.
Now it's more mental than anything. It's mental and physical.
Yeah.
It's not a lot of emotional. There's some emotional, but it's changed. And so I think that that's what's happening right now is we're having a huge change in construction. I mean, when I started, there was 7% of women. Then we went to 10%.
Dang.
Now we're at 14%.
Really?
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Yep, we're 14%. And there's an actual nonprofit called the 14 Percenters. And they've got like the FabFitFun box.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So you get the subscription once a quarter or something like that. They have one called 14 Percenters. So it's the number 14%, right? And I ordered it. And it came with a beanie and a set of gloves, and it came with a book, and it has some inspirational cards in it. And to me, I'm like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
You know, years ago, you never would have thought about getting a subscription box for construction trade
Sure,
stuff.
yeah.
Right?
And here we are.
And here we are.
That's cool.
People like you doing this really cool podcast, bringing awareness, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm just, like, excited to inspire other girls to get into it, because some of them don't, like, if they don't grow up around it, they don't even know that it's an option.
That's right.
So.
Well, and I think most women think about, well, if I go into construction, I'm hammering, or I'm, more brick mortaring, or I'm painting, like I'm physically having to do the labor. We need trade people really, really bad.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know the statistics on the trades.
I've heard them a few times, but I can't remember.
So I don't know it exactly right now.
Yeah.
But it's something like in 10 to 15 years, 50% of our trades will be retired.
Yeah.
And for every three that's retiring, we're only getting one in the trade.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
It's something like that. Crazy statistics. So we are seeing kind of, I'm in schools a lot, talking about NAWIC, talking about painting company, right? I'm seeing a big revival of shop culinary. We used to call it home ec, right?
Yeah.
Shop culinary, and, the construction trades. Different trades are going into these schools. We're being invited constantly. NAWIC or my company, CNR, is being invited constantly to come talk and speak at these places, because the teachers are now starting to go, not everybody's meant for college.
Yeah.
Not everybody's meant for the military.
Right.
There are people that want to every day wake up, go work with their hands. Like you get anxious, like I was, what you were saying earlier, you go build something, right? Like at the end of the day, I need to get rid of all of this, and what do? I go build something.
For sure.
I think that's what's happening with a lot of these younger adults. They're starting to go, I don't want to just sit behind a computer all day. Unless at night I want to game, I want to play. Yeah. But during the day, like, I want to work with my hands.
Right. And
I think the other thing too is, like, for me, I don't ever stop. I own this company. I never stop. The cool thing about the trades, you go in early, but you're done early.
True.
Right?
Yeah. And
usually there's not a lot of shit you're bringing home with you.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I welded today. I'll put this together, and I'm done.
Yeah.
This is now the end of the day.
Right.
And so I think that there's a lot of revival coming in for the trades, and I think that school systems are changing, universities. Like right now in Tennessee, the TCATs, do you know what those are? So that's all your technical schools.
Oh, yeah.
There's like 20 of them being built right now.
Dang.
Yeah, and it's everything from the trade schools to the IT side of things to the drawings. I mean, like, it's really a revival on the trades.
That's good. I mean,
yes,
like you said, we need it.
and we need women to understand that just because you go in construction doesn't mean. And if you want to work with your hands all day, we love that, because we need trades.
Yeah.
But there's so many roles in construction.
For sure. From
the accountant to, there's women now that are being paid to do contract administration. Just get all the paperwork in to make sure this contract's legit, line up your subs. There's so many project managers, estimators, assistants, engineer. There's geotechnical. Yeah. Like, I met this one girl right now, like, she wanted to go dig in the dirt. And she started that, and now she's in the office running this huge company. Yeah. And so I think that that's the other thing we got to push too, is like, just because we talk construction, doesn't mean you're physically doing work, labor. Yeah. Which is great though if you want to. But there's also so many other avenues in construction.
For sure. And I feel like in almost every blue collar field, you learn a lot of other trades while you're like, no matter which one you're doing, you just learn a lot.
It's a part of it. I mean, a lot of my painters are also drywalls and framers and carpenters.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they all know how to do a little bit of everything because, like you said, when you're out in the field, you don't always have time to be like, hey, I need someone to come handle this.
Yeah.
I just got to do it.
Do it, yeah.
And you figure it out.
For sure.
And y'all's brains are like, let me look up YouTube.
Yeah.
Let me go straight to TikTok.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I say something to my son, I'm like, hey, what do you know about? He's like, hold on. And he's looking it up right away. It's like, it's different because for our brains, it was like, I'm going to hammer this out and figure it. I'm going to do it this way.
Yeah.
Y'all are so smart with the way y'all do things. Like, we're stubborn, right? Y'all are so smart. You're like, hold on a second. There it is. Oh, here's how I do it.
Yeah.
Boom, right?
Yeah.
It's just a different way people learn, I think.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, YouTube is huge at teaching, so.
It is. And it's a smart way to do it. It's just training your brain.
Yeah.
So now when my husband asks me something, I'm like, wait, hold on. And I start Googling it right away because I'm like, I don't want to waste any more brain cells if I don't have to. Or reinvent the wheel.
Right.
Like, there's so much that's already out there.
Yeah, for
a lot
sure.
more to go, though.
Yeah. Yeah. What about, like, when you're in the field or when you were in the field, the sweat and the dirt and the skin, you know, skin problems, hair problems, do you have any tips for that?
Well, I think cooling towels are very important.
Okay.
I think everyone should have them with them. Heat exhaustion is a big deal.
Yeah.
We talk about that a lot within NAWIC. In another month or so, as we start warming up here, in my newsletters, we'll be blasting out things about that. Like, heat exhaustion is huge. But I think the other thing too is just like the underlying nature of hydration.
Yeah.
Right? We gotta stay hydrated. I can't even tell you how many job sites I was on where guys would literally fall out because they've been drinking beer all night long. Right?
Yeah.
Come to the job site, they're sweating it out of themselves.
Right.
But they're not putting anything back in. I think that just needs to be part of the culture too, like making sure we have the water buckets where we need. But back then it was one of those things that painter pants, an old shirt, you constantly wiping, right? I had the whole acne thing right here at the top, right? Then you're wearing a hard hat, so that's putting it right there even more so. But it's changing. I mean, the Type 2 helmets, that are helmets, hard hats that are coming out now, they look like you're like either rock climbing, or riding a bicycle. I just got my new one. Can't wait to decorate it and get it all going.
Yeah.
I'll still have my pink one though.
Yeah.
But that one will stay there with all my stickers on it, and then I'll start working on the next one. But hygiene on the job sites is hard. I mean, we're sitting here talking about, trying to even find a bathroom.
Right.
The last thing they're going to let you do is worry about going in and, fixing your hair or making sure you're presentable in case someone important is walking on the job site.
Yeah.
A big thing for me for the job site is making sure you have proper PPE. One size does not fit all.
Right.
I'm sure certain companies, Carhartt, Dovetail. What's the other one? I don't know, but there's one I like called Xena.
Oh, yeah.
Xena. I met several years ago at a NAWIC conference, and I love her boots.
That's what I'm wearing.
Well, there you go. Promo, Xena, you need a sponsor. Sponsor. But I love them. I love the anti-fatigue, but I have 2 pairs of her boots. And, you get the card, electrical proof, shock proof, waterproof. It's crazy. But I actually just gave Nancy yesterday my Xena high-vis vest because the one she had on, even though it was cute and it's pink, she's a big pink girl.
Yeah.
It was too big for her.
Right.
And it's the issue is, are you going to wind up hurting yourself more because it's too big?
Yeah.
Or we have breast.
Yeah.
Those vests do not accommodate for that. What I love about Xena's is it's got the pull tabs, it's got all these hidden pockets.
Nice.
And that's the new thing too. Like, who would have thought that a woman would be creating a woman construction apparel company?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, crazy.
That's how the times are changing.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. And so I've seen things like that change just from, like you're talking about, appearances matter. You know, we want our people to feel safe and secure. And who would have thought that it mattered with a not one size fits all high vis vest?
Right. Yeah.
Right?
For sure. Well, so yeah, you pretty much covered that whole question. Well, if you had advice for someone who's fresh out of high school, coming in, wants to end up where you are, like doing what you're doing, what would you tell her?
Well, the first thing we need to really make sure women understand is that there's networking organizations like NAWIC.
Yeah.
So I'm the president of NAWIC.
Right.
Kind of told you that. That's how we got connected. You've been to NAWIC events. I would say you need to get involved even as a student. Like we got MTSU is the big school of concrete and construction.
Okay.
And so we have a bunch of connections there, and we're trying to get a NAWIC chapter. We have students that are members, which to be a student member of NAWIC is $25.
Nice.
Right? Which you're usually in college, so when can you get to the meetings, right? So we try to do Zoom where they can Zoom in, but we try to do breakfast or after hours things. We try to go to the campus to do events there. One of the things NAWIC does is called Block Kids, and so it's a Lego, even though we can't use the Lego name.
Right.
Hello, Lego. Get a clue. But we basically go sit down with all of these kids. We give them so many pieces of Lego, piece of aluminum, piece of tape, and a piece of string. And they have so much time to create whatever they feel for construction.
Yeah.
And there's some contest, but it basically just gives them an opportunity to think about construction and where they want to go. And these are little girls, little boys. They're like, I never would have thought about this, but maybe that's where it can just stem from.
Right.
So we're getting in really early elementary. We're getting in middle school, high school, all of that, colleges. And I would say that if you're in high school right now and you don't know what to do, which is why I'm going and I speak to a lot of juniors and seniors.
Yeah.
But reality is, girl, 7th grade, they're starting to decide what they want to do.
Yeah.
Right?
I could see that.
Even though it changed for me a few times.
Yeah.
I probably just didn't know my vision was construction. But now we're like, hey, do you know about these things?
Right.
So they're starting to talk like it's 7th grade about what they want to do. And so I would say that if you don't know your path yet, don't rule out construction.
For sure.
Because there's so many fields, from the actual trades to the people that support the trades, from insurance and social media people to all of the general contractors.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the large general contractors we work with, they have so many women in their office under the admin side.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, that's still a whole world right there, and you're a woman in construction.
For sure.
Right? Yeah. And so I try not to I try to help encourage women especially that don't understand all of the different aspects of construction. And that's what we're bringing to these schools.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Big work.
Get with networking groups.
Yeah.
Find out other women in construction. Get on the social media. And if you're not a college person, that's okay.
Yeah.
If you're not a military person, that is okay. What are you going to do?
Right.
Go into the trades, go into construction. Boom.
Yeah.
I made it easy for you.
Yeah, nice. If you were to start back from the beginning and like join a trade that's totally different from what you're doing now, what do you think it would have been?
Oh man. You know, one of my future goals is, one of the other chapters did this and it was so badass. They went to a mason and they built walls.
Oh.
And then they kicked them down. So it was like women breaking through the walls, right? If I don't think about the colors, like I love, obviously, color. We love color.
Yeah.
I love to see spaces come to life with color, murals, things like that. But if I think about a different trade if I could have gone into, I think it would have been masonry.
That's cool.
Yeah, I think that there's so many things that you can, I mean, it's the foundation.
Yeah.
You know, it's the building block of it all. And I know it's a dying trade.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many trades that if we don't start getting people in, but like even at my own house to try to find a mason now, it takes a long time. But I've always just been, I mean, when I think about, I love watching these old shows. like off the grid, those kind of things. And they're literally like a man and a woman out in the middle of this forest, and they're creating this little bitty house.
Yeah.
And to watch them use their hands to create the mud, and that's what they're using for their brick and their mortar. And I think that's something that for thousands of years, masons have been around.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think that would be one of the ones I probably would have done.
That'd be a cool one.
What about you?
Mine would be a equipment operator.
Yeah?
I just like to drive the big, it makes me feel powerful.
I like that.
Not saying I'd be good at it, but
but it definitely is empowering.
Yeah, for sure.
I think about Sammy climbing all the way up into that crane.
Golly.
And what her view every day, what she's doing in those cranes. And I mean, we drive by those cranes and you don't even think that there's a person up there.
Right. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, for sure.
Talk about her bathroom issues. Right?
Yeah, I know.
Bless her heart.
Yeah. Well, so we will link all of your business stuff down in the description. Is there anything else you wanted to shout out?
No, I mean, I just would love if you don't know about NAWIC, I mean, like, it's crazy to me that there's still women every day that go, there's a networking group for women in construction.
Yeah.
Yes, there's a networking group for people that collect, butterflies. I mean, hello, there's going to be one for us. Ask them to check out NAWIC. We're all across the country. We're in other parts of the world. Yeah. I mean, we've been around. 1953 was when they started. 1955 was when they became NAWIC. So 16 women. Dang. In 1955, we're wanting to fight for change for women.
Yeah.
Nashville's 66 years. We're on this is our 66th birthday.
Wow.
And so I grew the chapter from 35 of us to 178 of us.
Dang.
But we have a long way to go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I sit here and I think, how are there not hundreds of thousands of us?
Right.
And there are other networking groups for women in construction. I get that. There's a lot of them, and they're great. You know what I mean? Everyone should be following all of us that are doing these kind of things.
Yeah.
Getting more awareness, getting more brand awareness, but it's just still baffles me that they don't know that there's a networking group for us.
For sure.
So I would love just for people to look up NAWIC, what it means, and what we're doing. I love CNR, but I love creating women growth in NAWIC.
It's badass.
Yes, thank you. It is.
Well, I appreciate the space and the time and the everything you've done to help make this happen.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And it's for selfish reasons. To be honest. I mean, I gave you 4 of my NAWIC sisters.
Yeah.
I think it's important to get their name out, their brand out, their stories out.
For sure.
And so it's kind of one of those things, like, I could be on an island by myself having a great paint company. Like, I mean, we'd still be doing this great.
Right.
But to know that because of this, I get to do NAWIC and this kind of stuff is amazing.
Yeah. Love it.
Thank you so much for doing it. Thank you for coming in from Oklahoma to do this.
It's been fun.
I think you've had, 10 women? Something like that?
Yeah. Originally 12, and I think 2 of them didn't show, so yeah.
But hey, that's pretty good odds for women.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
For sure.
For someone that plans events constantly.
Yeah.
It's a 10 to 20% ratio of cancellations.
Dang.
So I think we did really well, and I think you've got some great material.
For sure.
I can't wait to see your constant growth. You keep doing this. I was calling it blue collar badasses.
Yeah,
which
that works too.
I still think it works,
Yeah.
But I'm really proud of you. I'm so glad we got to know you, and that wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for NAWIC.
True.
And that's part of the story, is getting the name out there even more. So that's kind of why I'm selfish with this, that I was like, oh no, you're coming here, you're doing this, you're recording here. I mean, I'm giving shout outs to CNR. Thank you for, having my cup out and stuff. But it's important to be able to put CNR's name out there. It does help us.
Right.
But more importantly, it's about NAWIC and growing women in construction and making these kind of connections.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to be stalking you now.
Yeah.
You're like a little sister that I'm going to keep watching grow up and see how you're doing.
Thanks.
Blow it up, girl.
Hell yeah.
That's it. So, thank you.
All right. Well, thank you. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed it, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss the next one. All the links and products we mentioned today will be listed in the description. If you're a woman in a blue-collar industry and you're interested in being the focus of the next episode, or you're a small business that would like to sponsor an episode, reach out to us in the link below.